अगर सामने वाला कोचेबल नहीं है, so it then becomes a big challenge for a coach also. So these are the four pillars or four segments into which I strongly work with my clients. And मैंने मेरे कंपनी को बोल दिया कि सर मुझे जाना है. They were like ऐसे कैसे जाओगे आप, प्रोजेक्ट खत्म करो. आंसर सबके पास होते हैं. Everybody knows the answer because we all are connected. We are part of one universe. The national director of BNI India is asking me to do something, and I just went ahead with it. You need to ready to go out and do things for others. That's the key to networking. यार बहुत सीखना है अपने को यार, अपने को वह बहुत लंबा रास्ता तय करना है.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 22nd podcast in my series called Business Networking with Vipul Bondal. And I have a very special guest. I know I say this about all my guests. All my guests are special, but this one is particularly special, and I'll tell you why. I've known him for many years now. He is a coach, a motivational speaker. He's a trainer. And more importantly, I think I can proudly call him my friend. Please welcome Kedar Bhole. A quick introduction of Kedar. He is, as I said, he is a three-in-one person. He is a business coach, he is motivational speaker, and he is also a trainer. So he's one of the most happening trainers in BNI. I know that. I've seen a lot of people take selfies with him after the training and causes a lot of envy to a lot of us. So he is a master at networking, and he teaches that to other people so that they can excel. And his thing is his intent is to ignite the internal passion of entrepreneurs and help them succeed. And he has a very small goal, I must say, a very small goal of helping 1 million entrepreneurs attract more customers, express themselves fully, and have a smile on their face. It's not a small goal. I was just being funny. It is a very big goal. And, he is well on his journey in that. So, without further ado, let me get the man himself, Kedar Bhole. Welcome to Business Networking with Vipul Bondal.
Vipul, firstly, thank you so much for inviting me. And I think just by listening to what you were sharing, I was like, oh my God, Vipul, you are just blowing it up way too much. Bhai, abhi, there is a long way to go. I am work in progress. And so it's just the beginning of my journey. So, but thank you for all the kind words that you've shared. I'm enjoying my journey, and thank you for having me on this wonderful platform of Thinkly. It's my pleasure and honor to be here. So, thank you, Vipul, for considering me to be here on this show.
Thank you. So, typically what we've known coaches to be, I mean, earlier we've heard of Ramakant Atsrekar, who coached, probably India's biggest cricketer, but remained in the background. Recently, we've seen Rahul Dravid help the Indian cricket team lift the World Cup, continue to remain in the background. So, coaches have a very difficult job to do. So they have probably work as hard as the people they coach, but they have to remain in the background, So, and many of them, the good part is they have never been trained to be coaches. I don't remember anybody telling me, in college that I want to be a coach. And I'm sure it's something similar in your case, right? You didn't start out your career wanting to be a coach, but you've become one of the best coaches I have met. So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? How did you come? How did you reach here?
Well, of course, everybody has a journey and something that really shifts in their life. There is that a moment where your life just turns 180 degrees and you are in a whole different space. Of course, I never set out to be a coach. That wasn't something that I had known because. As you rightly said, people don't think of coaching, and it is a job which is way out of limelight. It is you're right at the background. You're making sure things are happening. You have to be there. So of course that was never the case. But honestly, the turn of events in life so happened that I realized, I would, to be very frank, this was those. Outdoor events that happen, a lot of times outdoor events where companies take you to an outdoor event where team building, team bonding karni hoti hai. And There was one game I particularly remember, and Vipul, this is first time that I'm sharing this with somebody, because that was the first thing that came to my mind right now, to be
Yeah.
very honest. So there was this Faryaz I remember, and this is the place where we were. There was a game where you have to transfer the ball from one person to another in a small tray, and then it's like
Right.
a teamwork. And I have no idea. The moment I saw this game, I was like, I'm gonna go on the other side of the line, and I'm gonna help people make sure they deliver it right to the end. And I don't know what, it just clicked, and I
Yeah.
just went, and we beat the other teams by a huge margin, and I could realize what I was doing was really inspiring something in me. It was giving me an immense sense of satisfaction. I was able to get the best out of the entire team. Ki, yeah, yes, you can do it. Come on, let's do it, and just hold this. Okay, just continue, and I believe in you. And this is something that that was that one outdoor moment. I would say that is something where the coaching seed might have been planted into me, where I might have subconsciously,
Right.
touched upon it. But again, then over a period of time, I took up a role of being into project management consultancy. So as a background, I'm a construction engineer. I
Right.
have done my post graduation in construction management from an institute called NICMAR. It is the premier institute for construction management. So I did that. I passed out. वो बोलते हैं ना, अच्छी नौकरी मिली, अच्छी छोकरी मिली. So things were going, and actually that was the Faryaz point where I found the chokri also.
Right.
But so that's where I was doing my 9 to 5 job. Things were going fine, and वो बोलते हैं ना, the grass is green on the other
Other
side. And
side.
वो एक मजा आ रहा था देख के लोगों को. And luckily there was this contractor of mine who approached me, said, "केदार यार, ये सब क्या कर रहे हो यार? आ जाओ यार, पार्टनर बन जाओ मेरे." And I was like, "यार, this is amazing. I think I should get into this." And मैंने मेरे कंपनी को बोल दिया कि सर मुझे जाना है. They were like, ऐसे कैसे जाओगे आप? प्रोजेक्ट खत्म करो. So they, in fact, this is something that I would really urge. Sometimes you meet such wonderful people in your life.
Right.
Mr. Gurnani, who was the president of Hinduja Group, he said, Kedar, तुझे तेरा business किसी और के साथ start कर रहा है, go ahead and do it. I don't mind. But ये हॉस्पिटल जो हिंदुजा हॉस्पिटल खार में जो है, ये
Hmm.
प्रोजेक्ट आई वांट यू टू साइन इट ऑफ entirely for me. You are allowed to come 5 days a week, 3 days a week. It's your call. I will not ask you any questions, but you have to ensure you sign off the entire project. And Vipul, almost for 9 months, मैं simultaneously दोनों की.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm extremely grateful. In fact, he asked me कि केदार एक बार वापस सोच ले जाने से पहले. I said, sir, let me take things on my own, and I think I am responsible for whatever that life that I am doing. I am having, of course, gratitude to Uparwala, my parents, and a lot of people have supported. But
Right.
it was my decision, and I moved out. And trust me, within another a year of that, I realized, oh my God, क्या करके बैठा हूँ मैं. Vipul, you know what? My partner, he was looking here. I was looking here. Life, paisa, morals, a whole world of difference. And अक्ल थी नहीं, तो कोई लिखा पढ़ी की नहीं थी. So I had nothing on paper. सब outgoing चल रहा था, incoming zero था. जितना भी कमा के रखा था, सब जा चुका था. And that is when I said, okay, let me start on my own. That's where I started my own business, which was into project management and contracting into interiors.
Okay.
तो अब वो ही समझ में आ रहा था क्योंकि वैसे ही वाले काम किए हुए थे. So I started taking up works there, doing that, and during that time something really clicked कि यार और business चाहिए, इसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं. And my father-in-law had attended this one wonderful platform
Right.
where he said, Kedar, Thursday evening he called me saying, Kal subah you have to come with me. This is the best thing I visited last Friday. You have to come with me today.
All
And
right.
we both went, and boy, Vipul, it just blew my mind. What I saw that networking platform, I think is
Okay.
so organized, so structured. ऐसे अभी विजिटर्स को पिछले 12 साल से बोलते हुए सुना हूं. मैंने शायद पहली बार ये सब बोला रहेगा कि नहीं, तो मुझे याद नहीं है. But that platform, I just fell in love with it, honestly, and which is BNI, Business Network International. I just I just got into it, and वो बोलते हैं ना कि किसी चीज के साथ sometimes आपका just एक मिलाप हो जाता है, and
Correct.
certain things you go in that direction, but that thing also comes to it at a double speed at you. And BNI came to me at a crazy pace, people. I think the leadership role, I think within the fourth month, I was an ambassador to another chapter. LT पे आ
Wow.
गया. But all of this apart, I still remember Neeraj Shah, who brought BNI to India. At LTRT मैंने एक सेशन डिलीवर किया, and this is where my life slightly changed. There are one or the other, slight degrees of changes. One of the big degree of change was Neeraj Shah.
Okay.
He saw me delivered a session and he said, Kedar, what kind of trainings you conduct? I said, sir, I don't conduct any training. Sir, I do, project management, contracting. No, 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 not in BNI. Outside BNI. What do you do? I said, sir, I do this. This is what I do. He's like, I want you to sign up for the Train the Trainer of Member Success program next month. No questions asked. You have to sign up now. I was
Okay.
like, the national director of BNI India is asking me to do something, and I just went ahead with it. And I think
That was the turning point.
yeah, that just this trainings coaching just started to happen. And by 2016, you know what, Vipul, I was in a very in a space where वो कभी कभार ऐसा बोलता है ना, तुम्हारे अंदर से कुछ तुम ऐसे खींचता है, your tone between two things.
Right.
And that was happening. I was doing project management. I was doing my project management contracting business.
Right.
But दूसरों के घर बनाना, दूसरे के ऑफिस बनाना मजा आ रहा था. But the training, the coaching was, making me be here,
You
and
have
I
to
wanted to
switch.
be here, and I was like, I'll do whatever it takes to go
Correct.
there, and I just did whatever it took. Yeah, Vipul, just did everything in my
Superb.
power.
Superb. Superb. In fact, I'm not sure, but I think the first training that you delivered after you came back, I think I was one of the people who attended that training. It might be your first or your second, but I know it was early days and I had attended it. It was at Mithila Banquets, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
and it was your first MSP.
Right.
And
I can never forget it. It's so.
yeah, so I think you and Samrat had taken it, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was me and Doctor, the eye specialist.
Okay. So I remember that one because you had mentioned that it is your first one, but you frankly did not conduct it like it was your first one. Very honestly, it was that good, and I remember, and since then I've been actually,
I mean,
you can say, quote unquote, following you, following what you've been doing, and I must tell you, you've grown tremendously since then, and especially because it was not your chosen field of profession. I mean, you kind of imbibed it, learned it along the way, and kind of.
yeah. So I prefer saying I found my calling. This is it's just I stumbled upon it, and serendipity bolo. So yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so now that brings me to some of the other questions which I had when I started preparing for this one. So I said, let me prepare a few questions here. Coach hai, after all, we need to be prepared, right? So what are the kind of people, or what kind of entrepreneurs look for coaches? I mean, how does that milap between a coach and a coachee happen? Especially
See,
because it's a business owner. I mean, most business owners are proud. They think they know everything. So how does that happen?
Vipul, यहाँ पे ना तो मैं genuinely एक cliche use करूंगा, but ये fact and this is what I have always seen it happens. When the student is ready, the master appears. This is something which I have personally, for me also, my coach, my guru Murli Sundaram, Mohammad Rafi, the guy who is my NLP trainer, or the Blair Singer, all of these coaches just appeared in my life when I was ready and I needed that guidance, that path to be seen. One thing is for sure, Vipul, I can't ask anybody कि जैसे business में हम सिखाते हैं लोगों को कि you have to go out and you have to tell people what you do. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. It's a very simple concept. But when it comes to coaching, consulting, सामने वाले को लगना चाहिए कि यार I need to get coached or trained. अगर सामने वाला coachable नहीं है, so it then becomes a big challenge for a coach also. Because you've signed it up, you said that okay, you want this, but then if the mindset is not there, it becomes a task even for a coach. Because it's like some people sometimes just sign up. Initial days is what I realized. Because everybody says it's the in thing. You need to have a coach or all of that, and then people go out and just sign up with a coach, and then they realize, oh my God, this guy is asking me a lot of questions. This guy is going so deep into my mind, into my head, my routine. I can't handle. And yeah, it does happen. So obviously the milap is somewhere. Firstly, the mentee has to be in the mindset that yes, I want the guidance, and still uske baad bhi, it's like a two-way process where
Right.
I try and understand what they are happening, what's happening in their life, and am I the right one to guide them? But sometimes I've seen and I've told my clients that I don't think I am the right one. I
Okay.
wouldn't be in a position to guide you because the kind of work that they want or kind of expectations. I'll point you out here something very interesting, Vipul. I have realized over this journey. A lot of times, there is a trainer. A
Right.
trainer, actually tells you कि इस चीज को आपको ऐसे करना है.
Correct.
So probably, they would be somebody who's like maybe, इस shot को ऐसे खेलो.
Correct.
और मैं बोल रहा हूँ ऐसे खेलो तो ऐसे खेलो. No
Yeah,
questions
that's it.
asked.
Yeah.
That's it. Just follow this and you will be sorted. So,
Right.
and then there is the next level where, people who have, been there, done that, and they are like, this is what I have done and it works perfectly. So just follow. Because I have created results, I know this is working, and then you can get better. But with
True.
authority, you are able to tell that. First case, you're just telling this is the coaching manual. Second, you have done it, so you have walked the way and you are able to tell. And the third way, which is the most fascinating one, which is the one which I love, is you help them figure out their answers.
Wow. Okay.
So you don't tell anything. You probably, you need to. This is the toughest level which I have learned from BNI again, where there is a training called facilitation. So you have to facilitate the success out of them because Vipul, answers सबके पास होते हैं. Everybody knows the answer because we all are connected. We are part of one universe.
Right.
So the intelligence is in each and every one of us. As a coach, my role is to find the brilliance in you. I have to
Correct.
just, nudge you, push you, and that's what happened at that Farias. I was just nudging and pushing people to do it right, and they just suddenly discover, oh my God. And there's a huge sense for them that I have done it.
Yeah.
They own their success, and there's nothing amazing to hear when they feel that exhilaration कि यार मजा आ गया यार ये अपन ने कर दिया. So yeah, so that's the kind of coaching, and that's how the milap happens is what I have seen with my clients.
Fantastic. So facilitation is the word you used.
Yeah,
That is what you do to help your
get the best out of my
get the
clients
best
in
out of
in
people.
in certain cases when
Right. And the other thing which you mentioned was that you know the the milap, so to say, of the coach or the mentor and the mentee is basically triggered when the mentee is seeking a coach and the coach is there at the right place, and basically happens through word of mouth. That would be, I think, in a nutshell. Somebody recommends you, somebody says,
yeah,
karke dekho.
it strongly happens through word of mouth. Is what I have seen that works the perfectly for a coach situation.
So now tell me, I mean, two very technical questions, if I may use the word. So one is, what aspects of business do you coach on? Because I understand you will not be able to coach them on. I mean, if somebody came to you for project management, I'm sure you'll be able to help them technically. But other than that, I think in most other places, your mentee would know technical details about their business a lot more. So how does that happen? So what aspects, firstly, do you coach on? And secondly, what is the modus operandi that you use? I mean, you said facilitation, but if you can just dive a little deeper into how does that happen? Because, how do you kind of earn their trust so that they can start trusting you for what you're telling them and then implement it in their business? Because that is critical, right? I mean, how does that happen?
Okay, so this is a two-layered question.
Yeah.
So
if you want, I can ask the second question later so that you can gather your thoughts and go on.
Yeah. So the first question which you said was, the milap part is what we've understood.
Yeah.
And then how do you, so right now, to be very frank, Vipul, itne lambe statement mein, I missed out this first question.
Okay.
I remember the second
so I'll tell you.
part
I'll tell you the two
is
questions.
how do I generate trust? But
Yeah.
pehla
So
part,
one is, I'll tell you. So firstly, you mentioned, so there is the aspect of
what all
business
areas
of-
I do. Okay,
areas
I
of
remember.
business. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so see, what I bring to the table is a lot of marketing expertise. So I work on with my clients in 4 areas.
Okay.
So these are the 4 pillars or 4 segments into which I strongly work with my clients. The first is marketing strategy. That is, what will work, how it will work, because since I am having the bird's eye view, I'm able to give them, what, out of these 3 paths, take this, then this, or maybe do this. So that's the thing for the marketing strategy. I understand their business. In fact, I study some of their competitors. I study what has been happening in the industry, what has been working. So accordingly, I guide them on the strategy. So that's the first part. Second thing which I strongly work with my clients is on their sales conversions.
Right.
See, with business owners, the thing is they know sales. Sales is something that they know about it. But the thing,
Right.
a lot of times, how do you improve your conversion
Correct.
is the game, because if that helps them increase efficiency. अगर मैं 10 लोगों को मिलके right now if I'm converting one, and if I even convert 2 out of 10, it's a huge saving in my
Huge.
time, efforts, everything. So
Absolutely.
because of my background of learning neuro linguistic programming from Mohammad Rafi, the NLP, the power of using subconscious mind to build rapport. In fact, I'm right now going this month, next month, to learn something called as spiral somatics. It's a very different branch which can help you just by looking at a person or with a 2 minute conversation, find their core values
Wow.
and
Okay.
connect to them. So the second area is where how do you create better rapport, better projecting your services, and this is where storytelling, the art of selling through storytelling comes immensely into picture. You need to be telling good stories for getting conversions from clients. Most of my clients have had that aha moment, because they always will go out and say the technical stuff कि हमारा business में हम ये करते हैं वो करते हैं, and sometimes, no offense to them, but the client is like, agreed, but मेरा क्या? That is where, if you're able to tell them stories of
Right.
what worked, what worked. I give a very common example. If you have seen the Dove ad,
Correct.
you know all the they are not telling कि वो साबुन कैसा है, साबुन कितना अच्छा है, क्या है. They are just telling women who are speaking how it felt, how I got compliments. Once I saw myself in the mirror, and how did I realize, oh wow. So all of that is basically testimonials which are good stories. So
Right.
if you're able to effectively communicate good stories, closing becomes faster. So
Correct.
conversions, that's the second area. The third area which I see small medium business owners lacking big time is building the next line of leaders, which is
Okay.
developing leaders. And this is where I guide them how do you build leaders. I don't go and coach their leaders. My
Okay.
coaching is with the business owner. I work for with them as to how they can at times identify talent, train talent, and nurture talent. So, what skill set do they have to imbibe in themselves so that they are able to have people sticking to them, people going out of the way and doing more for them. This is something that I've been doing. In fact, one of my clients, a lot of times, उनका टीम में senior employee अगर हायर करना है, या सीनियर एम्प्लॉय ने सडनली पेपर्स डाल दिए, या ऐसा कुछ भी होता है, सो
Hmm.
there is a WhatsApp message to me, Kedar, something has happened. The next is, available time we need to speak. And that is when I coach them and guide them. Ki in this case, what should be your mindset? How do you handle the mindset in this case? So,
Wow.
as a business owner, how do you look at the situation? What can you get the best out of the situation? Or sometimes you have to let go. But even when you're letting go, how do you protect yourself? So all of that. So that's the how do you develop leaders, and how do you ensure the team is there with you. That is the third area I work. And the
Mhm.
fourth area, which is a huge pain point for a lot of business owners, is because that's the one reason a lot of businesses go out of business, which is cash flow management.
Cash.
The business. Uh, so I don't get into their accounting, but again, this is where the mindset of cash flow. How do you look at your cash flow? What are the priorities that you need to look at? How do you ensure more and more keeps happening? And I would connect this like as a cycle. So,
Hmm.
marketing strategy, then your sales conversion, developing leaders, and your
Cash
cash
flow.
flow management. Because cash flow management ka a huge chunk is you have to get more business
Right. Absolutely.
also, which again links back to marketing strategy. So it's like a cyclic way of
Yeah.
keeping the business healthy, cash rich, and profitable is my area of expertise. So this is what I work with my clients.
So many years ago, I had learned about something called balance scorecard. I mean, it was more or less on the same principles.
Okay.
Conversion is about processes, marketing and sales, and growing customers.
Right.
So
Right.
customers, processes, people, and
Yeah.
finance.
Of
So
course.
making sure that everything is balanced, and you had scores on each, and you assessed your business on all these four parameters. So these are exactly the four parameters which you're talking about. So what is your, I mean, how often do you meet your customer or your coachee here? How
My
often do
my
you
clients.
interact?
So my
Yeah,
clients, you can call them my
yeah,
clients.
clients.
Okay.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
clients.
So when I work with my clients, people, uh, initial days when I started off. So this is where personal coaching. So I've been training since 2016. We used to do group sessions
Correct.
till 2020. I was doing that, but from 2020, there was a new switch that started to happen with my style of working was
Right.
one-on-one coaching,
Okay.
and so for almost 2 years, I'll be upfront here. I used to coach my clients every week. So we meet once a week for 1 hour, either in person or Zoom. But that was those days. Now, though, I prefer meeting in person. That's my most preferred operating style is one-on-one in-person meeting. But the huge change that I did with my clients, what used to happen? मैं एक हफ्ते में वापस उनसे मिलता था. And 1 week
Hmm.
just flies by. So they were like, "Oh my God, I've done nothing." Because there's no time to create actions.
Correct.
So what has worked with my clients for the first 1 year or two
Mhm.
years is where every fortnightly is my session with them.
Okay.
So that works perfectly.
Okay.
It gives them the time to enough time to take
Imbibe.
actions and enough time also for me to come back and again hold them accountable.
All right.
What has happened? Because longer breaks than this, then अरे सब निकल गया कुछ but the fortnightly cycle has been doing wonders. All
Wonders.
my clients right now are all on the fortnightly cycle.
Fortnite.
So that's the perfect where I meet them for an hour and then I work very closely with them.
And typically, how deep are your interactions? I mean, how deep do you go about their business or about whatever area that you're working on? Do you practically know everything that he or she knows, or do you prefer to maintain distance in terms of understanding what's happening? I mean, how does that happen?
I completely understand what Vipul you are saying, and it does happen because uh, it happens because what happens? Business is not something which is taking place only outside your the other arenas of life.
Right.
So business actually overlaps everything that you also do in your life, which is
Absolutely.
probably your health, your
Correct.
relationships.
Correct.
There's lots more to the business owner than just doing their business.
Absolutely.
And the secret, I mean, I tell you, people, this is what I have realized for past 4 years since I've been coaching one-on-one. The challenge is never in the business. That's the secret.
Okay.
The challenge is never in the challenge lies somewhere outside. Because there's something going on here which is not letting it settle and take the path. Because honestly, they know ye karna hai. But that is what, and this discovery ke liye, I need to get really, into a zone where I'm able to understand what is happening around them.
Right.
But I'm able to, till date, I've been able to, tread that fine line where I understand closely, but I still figure out a way to stay back. Ki bhai, uh,
Yeah.
nahi yaar, because then I also get attached. There is so much of, then the lines will get blurry. So,
Blur. Yeah.
but I need to enter their lives. I need to understand what is happening. And again, the fortnight break actually gives me, at times the window to, kind of slightly take one step back, get into my coach role, and then again guide them. Okay, this is what is needed. So, and this is where honestly the NLP also helps me, where I am able to train my mind to,
To stay
make that
detached also.
connection enough to give them the best solution, but at times just take that one step back.
Detach. Yeah. So can you, I mean, for the benefit of people who have logged in, I mean, maybe one or two examples of your successful clients who if you can, you need not take names, of course,
Yeah,
but
that's
if you
okay.
can tell us,
So, uh,
how you've transformed their business, or how did you make a difference to their business and life, I'm sure, along the way.
okay.
I know a
So,
few of them, but I mean, I would like you to say them.
okay. So one of my clients is into air conditioning business, which is
Right.
Manish.
Right.
So they have been into that business for I think over 2 decades. When I came into the coaching with them, and they were doing a good turnover for around 12 odd CR. That is what they were working at. And so Manish Bhai had a very clear cut thought process saying, Kedar, by 2030, in the next 10 years, I want to reach 100 crores. And I'm clear. And so he was like, and I believe that you can take me and my company to that level. So this was the conversation that he had with me in 2020, and we started working. So of course, from slowly, steadily, step by step, we took him from 12 to 15, 15 to say 27, and then we again went to 30. A lot of times, people have questioned me also while when I tell them about this. Is like 15 से 27 किया और 27 से फिर 30 ही किया. But this has been the strategy that we have worked out for he and his team. Because what happens is you shoot and then you stabilize. One, there is a huge risk of falling. So you shoot, you stabilize, okay, this plateau, हम ऐसे आराम से attach, achieve कर पाते. So 27 to 30. And then again we shot last year, we came to 54. But this year we again want a plateau. We want 60. So we don't want to. So this is how, we've been working with him. A settled business.
Right.
But a lot of times, what I really dig with my clients is I tell them you have to work on 3 areas when you do marketing. You need to work on 3 areas. One is, I call them 3 levels of marketing to build a fortune. So सबसे पहला level is you have to look at people जो आपको जानते नहीं, unknown strangers. You have to look at them and they should start knowing you more. Then some people who have started knowing you, but haven't bought from you yet. उनको पता है आप सब क्या कर रहे हैं. So that's probably the next level, which is your leads. Then the final level is your existing customers. And trust me, Vipul, for the number of years that I've been training and coaching, despite a company having a 1-year experience or a 30-year experience, the least tapped and the most effective one is always the existing customer base, which is something with a company with a 20-year legacy or a 40-year legacy. It's like all those people who have come and taken your services, they know you, they trust you, they love you. If they say one thing about you, सामने वाला happily आपके पास आने. So the conversion can really be expedited if you have a system to market to your existing customers.
Right.
And that's where we worked with Manish Bhai, keep figuring out how do you reach out, and that is the key for our jumping from 30 to 54 Bolo. That is where how can you really accelerate there. Of course, that also has bringing in more the other levels of funnel. But this is Manish Bhai and his team. A lot of brainstorming we do. कि अभी team बढ़ रही है, तो बढ़ती हुई team के साथ क्या करना है? How do you develop more leaders? What kind of trainings? We identify the set of training. So all of that is what I work with Manish. So this is one of the success stories. So this is a very different end of the spectrum. I'll pick up somebody, another client of mine, which is we call them couplepreneurs.
Okay.
Couplepreneurs, because nowadays that's there are a lot of them, husband wife handling the same business. So the couplepreneurs, they both are chartered accountants, and they work in a very, very niche area, which is builder funding and a construction project funding. So the construction project mein funding chahiye, that is the only type of clients they want. So it's a very, very niche area which they work. And they were, I think, 4 or 5 years into business. That is when they approached me saying, Kedar, we really want to grow. And they came with a very different kind of a challenge. They were like, Kedar, ye humko marketing karni, humko ye actions leni hai, humko, we have to reach out, network. We agree, sab pata hai, ho nahi raha. The problem is it's not happening. We know it. And knowing is not doing.
Correct.
So we are not able to actually make it happen. And so they had never posted in social media, or they had not written blogs. One odd kabhi kuch aisa kuch kiya tha. And Vipul, I think now their YouTube channel is really active. They keep getting a lot of people keep telling them, ye dekha, isliye some builder approach them. Aapka video dekha, and we really felt it makes sense, and we would love to go for construction funding through you. So that is what at times is needed, is the way, but you're not able to walk on it. So I at times handhold my clients. This This is how, go there, take that step. Trust in me, it will happen.
So in this case, I mean, just to dig a little more deeper, if you're okay with that. So
Yeah, okay.
you figured out that execution is a challenge, right? I mean, in their case, the knowledge was there, the importance of doing something was there, but execution had some hurdles, right? So did
Right.
you kind of figure out what those obstacles were, and then you got it out? Maybe the obstacle was resources, maybe the obstacle was time, maybe the obstacle was lack of faith in doing it, or whatever that was. And then you slowly removed them and then help them move along that path. Is that what you did?
Absolutely. So as you rightly said, identifying what is holding them back,
Right.
from really achieving things, because wonderful ability. So
Yeah.
the ability was always there. They had actually delivered things, and all that they needed was, the belief in themselves.
Right.
That I go out, I put this out. Lot of times, the biggest challenge with business owner is, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. It's like the fear. So and maybe so it's a couple. So one had this fear. The other was very confident, but had other mindset blocks. So
Right.
I identify the mindset blocks. Okay, what needs to happen? How do you overcome them? How do you make them jump over, under, through, whatever that will work. So and that again, this is where Vipul, I am telling you, it's the facilitation. It's where the line of questioning that I do to them is where then they are like, oh yes, okay, kuch nahi hai, this is what we'll go ahead, we'll do it. Okay, we'll give this. Okay, okay, we'll give this by this date. So they only commit and then they do it. So that is where it happens.
Thanks for that. I mean, I just wanted to understand the a little bit of the
Yeah,
nitty
yeah.
gritty out of how you go about doing. Okay, so these are the good cases, right? I'm sure there were some bad ones. There's
Oh
some
yeah, yeah.
ones
Of course, that happens.
where you wanted to you said, yeah, why did I take on this account? So is there? I mean, I don't want you to again take names and get into a controversy, but you know, give me
Yeah,
an
no.
example of how a particular customer where you thought I shouldn't have taken this guy on. I mean, and I'm
Uh,
leaving ethics out of it because ethics is a clearly a no-no,
yeah,
which
yeah, I
you've
get it.
already said.
What you're saying is, as I said, now a lot of times people see my clients achieving things, and then they believe that they say, I think we would want to go in with you. And so initial days when I also was learning, because there is no training institute which teaches you how to be a coach.
Absolutely.
So of course, what's the right way of assessing the red flags, is, if I may say that. When now for me, one of the biggest red flag is clients come and tell me, Kedar, I know सब कुछ, मैं convinced हूँ, मुझे पता है, मुझे I know क्या करना है. My team is a challenge. इनको कुछ भी करके ना, just get them ready. I will go to the next level. And for me, honestly, people, this is
That's
where
a
I'm
red
like,
flag.
kudos. It's a red flag. I understand. See, the team development is there, but you know what? Whatever the team is doing, it's because of me. There is a culture.
Right.
You create the culture. खुद से अगर आप नहीं करोगे तो एक कल्चर बन जाता है. बट दोनों की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आपके पास है. एंड द मोमेंट आई हैव सीन पीपल सेइंग कि यार इनको ठीक करो यार, ये इनको ठीक कर दो, मेरा सक्सेस उसी की वजह से अटका हुआ है. एंड देन दिस इज वेयर यू आर गिविंग आउट योर पावर टू somebody else.
Right.
I know, working with them, getting them to get back their power, but yeah, there is too much of task. I am not on for that. I am very clear that you want to succeed. You believe that actions लेंगे हम results ला सकते हैं. And I recently attended, Vipul, the last weekend. I was at ISB Hyderabad, and I was attending a course called Business Storytelling
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
from a amazing professor called Professor Amin. He's like a whole different level of coach and guru. I found him. Like, it's a new coach for me. He said something very, very profound, which was, there is nothing called as smart work.
Okay.
You know,
Interesting.
hard
Okay.
work is the only thing. And he actually proved it. Like, with a very simple example. He's like, people say smart work, but smart work करने के लिए दिमाग लगा के पहले कुछ करना पड़ेगा, तब वो smart work बनता है. उसके लिए भी हार्ड वर्क डालना ही पड़ेगा. There is no shortcut to success. So, when entrepreneurs who are like, Kedar, we are ready to put in the hard work. You help us, put the hard work in the right direction. Let's succeed. And that's the clientele that I would love to work with, who are like, Kedar, humko pata hai. It's not, that's how Manish Gandhi, that's why, that's the reason to success. It's like he believes 100 crore karna hai, effort to dalne hi dalna hai, and with somebody who is there to guide me,
Right.
to take care of me. That's where the difference happens.
Fine. So let's change tack a bit.
Okay.
This the that's the main, you can say, community, and that's all about business networking. You are a ace networker, and as I said, you actually train people of how to become better networkers or great networkers. And you've already mentioned how important BNI is in your life. So can you walk us through your journey as a networker yourself?
Very differently. I've never thought of this. This is something that is, uh, I need to just think through
Sure, sure.
this. But one thing which I believe, as a networker, you need to give. This is what I've realized from PNI. You need to give in. You need to ready to go out and do things for others.
Right.
That's the key to networking. The moment you are ready to go out and ask people, the magic words is, how can I help you?
Wow. Okay.
Is what has been my key to success through the networking is, be it any city, takes me, or even any other networking, wherever I go, I have this ingrained belief system now that how can I help you? And the moment you start using that,
Mhm.
and it's something has to be extremely authentic, is what I would say. A lot of times people have got trained on this word. How can I help you? They'll say
Correct.
it just for the sake of it, क्योंकि सिखाया है networking में. How can I help
Correct.
you बोलने से
But it's not
wonders
about
होते हैं.
just it's not
But
about
you
saying
should
it
mean,
mechanically. Yeah.
yeah, you have to mean it. And when सामने वाले को बातों में जब आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि इसको ये help चाहिए, take that little bit of extra, that one, half an ounce. And I heard this brilliant story at ISB, which I'm going to share with you if
Sure.
you
Please do.
permit.
Please do.
So, from Amin. So Amin was sharing that, whenever he comes to Mumbai and he's put up at BKC, he's always put up in one of the two hotels, which is either, so there are only two hotels, which is the
Sofitel,
Hilton and the Sofitel.
Hilton.
So he's like, दोनों में से एक में ही ठहराते हैं. And so he was staying at the Hilton. And so Suba training ke pehle he went to, he keeps everything, all his bottles on the counter and everything, even if he's staying for a day. So he had kept all of that. He brushed, he shaved, he took a bath, and he went for the training. And when he came back in the evening, he says that there was a uska jo shaving foam tha chota sa, that shaving foam ka bottle was lying in the dustbin, and there was a note on the counter saying, "Sir, we noticed that your shaving foam has, got over because our housekeeping staff, and that's why we took the liberty to replace a new one with it, and it has been kept there for you."
Yeah.
Now, imagine this. This is like excellent housekeeping. Like, now, does the housekeeping guy, just to check, it takes a little bit of extra. कि हाँ खत्म हो गया है, and just get it replaced. Now, this was this one guy who did this, but I think that's the culture. And
Right.
he went and thanked them. And boy, now he says, now you tell me, anytime if I have to stay at BKC, which hotel I'm going to choose for lifetime. And
Absolutely.
for a room which is worth probably a 20 grand a night, 90, 80 rupees bottle can just, change everything. So that little
That
bit
little bit
extra,
of, yeah.
yeah, that can make absolute wonders.
Fantastic. Yeah. So these are small things, but as you rightly said, the moment you look at it from that other person's point of view, you are able to figure out what that little thing, and that little, it could be a small thing for you, but for that person, it could mean a lot more. And
This is what I still remember. There was this one guy at the networking, one of the networking, the BNI one meeting. So he told me even years after him being part of BNI, he said, I can never forget the first day when I walked into the room, and there was this guy who took me along. He made me comfortable. He made sure that I have a seat. And he never ever gave me his card also, saying that this is who I am, this is what I do. And I still remember. So this was a compliment that I got, but I'm just sharing that guy, he went out and seeked clients for me just because this is what I learned in networking. Never ever give your card until asked. सामने वाले को पूछने दो, आप अपना 100% दे दो, and just see magic. I mean, Vipul, I'll tell you, I have no idea which corner of India I get a call कि training के लिए आना है. This month, to be frank, Vipul, I am at times I feel blessed. I had to refuse 2 cities this month just because
Okay.
my calendar is full.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
So and that's the beauty of BNI. The networking platform has been a blessing for me, and I'm extremely grateful that I have put in what I felt right. A lot of times, Vipul, this will happen. This happens with networking, especially in a setting like which you and me are very well aware, where when you go out and you keep doing that extra, people keep coming and asking, "ये क्या क्यों करता है?"
Yeah.
Why do you have to go ahead and do that? क्या जरूरत है? This is something that has been asked, but I feel, what, यहाँ से लगता है तो करना है. That's it. If you feel it from here and you do it,
Absolutely.
it's just magic.
Also, the I think it's a lot of learning that you have along the way as you go along, right? I mean, as a member, you learn a lot. You were part of the leadership team, I think, on several occasions.
Yeah.
uh, you're part of the regional support team, you're part of the training team, you're part of the national training team. So I'm sure there's a lot of learning along the way, right?
Oh my God, I think all of these roles have taught me. In fact, every stage is a learning. When you go from, as you said, from the from your chapter to member to a leadership role to regional and then to the national, the responsibility keeps on growing as you go up on this. But every stage, there are lessons which I believe the primary lesson is a lot of humility. The lessons in humility is what I've seen. There are lessons on leadership when I've seen, see, when you go on the leadership, obviously you learn. But
Correct.
when you see people who are up above and how they are leading, it's wonderful. Like, to learn from leaders who are able to handle, a much bigger group than you can ever imagine. I mean, some close leaders which I have seen, and one person who really, as a leader, is a huge learning is Reed Schroff. Uh, I think I've told her this to her on her face also. I mean, at times I just fail to understand, यार कैसे कर लेते? And there is a learning keep how you can be soft at the same time very affirmative as to what you want. This is something that I have learned, seen closely. Again, all these trainings, especially for me, to be very frank, Vipul, it's all about also getting into bigger trainings, more trainings. I trust me, when I'm sitting there and when I'm making notes from the training, I'm doing 2 notes. मेरे 2 notes चलते हैं. एक notes are what the trainer content is, and दूसरा notes कि वो trainer क्या कर रहा है. And it is wonderful to see a whole different variety of trainers, how they energize the room, how they connect to people. Yeah, it's an absolute art. Or I mean, a lot of times I've seen trainers. If you see Tony Robbins, he's like full energy. He's like, yo, come on, let's do it. He'll be like that. And at the other end, of the spectrum, last week when I said I was at ISB, I was like, this guy, he was like so chilled out, so calm. He took a lot of pauses, yet rapt attention. This was a different level. And then there are some trainers who have humor, some trainers being so this is where I have learned from all of these trainers. That's a huge learning for me. And I always, that's where I said humility. So when you see them, you are like, यार बहुत सीखना है अपने को यार, अपने को बहुत लंबा रास्ता तय करना है. So that's what I have seen, and it's a continuous learning journey. And it will continue. So,
and you're a famous trainer. I mean, a lot of people know you. I mean, every other person whom I have spoken to will say, I attended a training with Kedar Bhole, and they'll. And you're a source of envy for a lot of us. The number of selfies you get taken with, and so on. But are there any interesting episodes that have happened in the sense, somebody came up and asked you something, and can you tell us a few interesting kissas that might have happened when you were training people?
Oh my God. Kissa that when I'm training, sometimes it happens. I mean, it just, I'll tell you this a lot of times if I enter the training hall and maybe by chance मैंने badge नहीं लगाया when I enter the training hall और badge जेब में है and obviously BNI members तो networking तो तुरंत शुरू हो जाता है hey hi and again as I said थोड़ी देर पहले ट्रेंड है माइंड कि भाई हम कौन है बताना ही नहीं अपने को जरूरत ही नहीं है till this person asks और बहुत बार ये होता है कि people during the networking they come they give me their card they are like and they are like full excited to tell who they are and I patiently hear them out because I love doing this it helps me understand the person there and then oh, the same person after the training they are like I never knew you were the trainer I mean they are like oh my god मैंने कुछ गलत तो नहीं बोल दिया आपको start में this is something that a lot of times happen कि for them at sometimes so some people are, I have okay this is okay I will tell you this so two kissas one तो I remember very clearly there was this one member who because again batch नहीं था 5 घंटे की ट्रेनिंग है यार मेरे को ना सोना है तो मैं पीछे बैठने वाला ओके सो दिस वाज क्लियरली ऑन माय फेस इट वाज टोल्ड कि भाई मैं सोने वाला हूं एंड आई एम लाइक ओके एंड देन इन द ब्रेक सर सॉरी मैंने आपको बोल दिया कि मेरे को सोने आपने मेरे को सोने नहीं दिया लेकिन सर कल रात को नींद नहीं सो दिस is happens and sometimes we ask people how many of you here for points in the training and nothing else nothing doing and I tell them भाई honestly बता दो यार points के लिए ना मुझे कोई problem नहीं है I am allowing you बिंदास भाई points के लिए पीछे जाके बैठना है बैठ जाओ and for whatever reasons the way content the BNI का training ऐसा aligned है कि भले वो पीछे जाके बैठे यार आधे घंटे में they are full on participating and for me that's like I can never forget this gentleman huge mustaches Mr. Munot
Nitin Munot
so amazing guy and he clearly Kedar points के लिए आया हूँ that's it and then my god he was the most active person in the training and I'm like sir वो अभी मजा आने लग गया so this is honestly that's something that I enjoy in my training बाकी तो कुछ ना कुछ होते रहता है यार विपुल अभी ट्रेनिंग्स चलती है तब
has it ever happened to you that you are actually attending the training and people thought you're the trainer?
Wow
that would be fun
that would be amazing fun honestly कभी कभार होता है जैसे to be very frank which happened at अभी it was not the training but it was this event which happened the black tie event recently and so I was on the PPT this time I was not on the stage at all and people came and asked कब जा रहा है स्टेज पे मैं नहीं जा रहा हूँ स्टेज पे आज मुझे नहीं पर स्टेज यार तू और स्टेज चलता नहीं है भाई ऐसा नहीं है आई एम कंफर्टेबल दैट there is lots fun lot of fun
मैं डगआउट में हूँ
आज मैं हाँ सीरियसली मैं तो आज डगआउट में था उस दिन डगआउट से and it was fun to be at the dugout and it gave trust me Vipul crazy perspective यार lot of different perspective lot of learning sitting at the dugout so yeah but it's fun.
Okay, so Kedar, you not only have fans in BNI, there are fans in the community also. So I'll read out a few messages so that you get them. So there's this message from Alia. She says, "You speak so well. No wonder you are a coach. I am impressed." Okay, so that's from Alia. There's a question from Varun Nanda. So his question is, what tools or methods do you recommend for crafting compelling stories that resonate with diverse audiences?
Okay.
What tools or methods do you recommend for crafting compelling stories that resonate with diverse audiences?
Now, this is where, you have to, when you're looking at diverse audiences, firstly, if you want to have a compelling story, the first step is you know your audience. If it is if it is an audience which is an particular segment, which is a small sector, you think for them what is in it for me, or
correct.
Your examples should be designed as per them. If you are having a bigger audience, as the question is, like if there is a maybe a heterogeneous mix, and how do I still be compelling? That is when you have to craft a story which then connects to something which is known to everyone in that room. So, if you are talking about, say, some industry, so if I say, Vipul, somebody is at times say talking about marketing. I'm just going to pick up. So you want to talk about marketing or leadership. You want to talk about leadership, and if you're going to talk about, Six Sigma, or that is like operations में और better करने के लिए, तो वो सब एक particular audience को ही पता होगा. But if you
Correct.
want to talk about leadership to a bigger group, then you take examples like politics, cricket, Bollywood.
All right.
If it is an international audience, then Hollywood. So then, you pick up industry. So जैसे अगर मुझे 5 levels of leadership की बात करनी है, so then I talk about Dhoni.
Right.
Like, how did he scale up from his level of leadership from, being, वो बोलते हैं ना, your leader by position to leader by respect. तो वो पांचों levels अगर मुझे बात करनी, but then I'll use a Dhoni example, which will make huge impact. And again, if you want to be extremely powerful, you have to make वो story तो बता दो, but story को relate करना जरूरी है. Lot of time people
Absolutely.
वो story क्यों बोली? What is the moral of the story? How does this story of Dhoni connect to me?
Me.
Or how do I see you as a Dhoni?
Perfect.
So I think that can do help. I hope Nanda, and I think Nanda, wonderful question. Needs a lot of thinking to answer something like
So
this. But
we
good
are
question.
closing into the hour. In fact, we've just crossed our 1 hour that we had with you, Kedar. So I'll ask you one last question if you have the time.
Okay, go on.
So you've come a long way from starting out being a project management consultant to becoming a trainer, to becoming a coach and a motivational speaker. So what next? To use your language, language which usually is used by coaches and leaders. What is your BHAG? How do you see yourself, let's say 5 years or 10 years from now? And we know your goal of wanting to empower a million entrepreneurs. So
wonderful. So you know what? So along the journey, which I see for myself, so there is a wonderful book called The 5 a.m. Club.
Yes.
By
Robin Sharma.
Robin Sharma. And in that book, there are primarily three characters. So one is the entrepreneur, one is the artist, and then one is the businessman.
Right.
So Mr. Riley. So these three people is where the whole book revolves around.
Correct.
And then there is the coach, right at the start. He's the one who's on the stage. He's 88.
Yeah.
And there is a description about that coach.
Correct.
There's a very vivid description.
Yes.
Where, he has inspired millions. He has really been there, stood by people. Even the Mr. Riley, he speaks highly of him. He says, there's so much that I learned from him. I have created a fortune because of him.
Correct. Yes.
And that coach, that character, is how I would love to walk into the sunset.
Okay.
Would love to create people who have set up industries, have their own private jets, and I would love to coach them. I would love to create, wonders out of people. That's my BHAG. That's where I would love to reach. Love to, address an audience of 10,000 and, make a difference to their life, help them grow their business, bring a smile on their face. So that's my BHAG.
Godspeed, Kedar. And thanks for your time. You've been very generous with your time. And thank you very much for being so open about, what you, and so authentic, and, for answering all the questions that were thrown at you. Wish you all the very best. And obviously we'll meet more and more often and
of course,
have more conversations around this. And to meet your BHAG, wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vipul, for having me on this wonderful Thinkly platform. And I must compliment you for the kind of ease that you gave me. You dug into some things for me, because a lot of times as a coach, you need somebody to dig inside of you to get the best out of you. Vipul, hats off to you, the way you were, putting questions and giving me space. It was not just... So you gave me space to grow. In fact, this 1 hour, I have grown immensely
Grateful.
than I've grown in the last few months, I must say.
Thank you.
So Vipul, gratitude to you, gratitude to Thinkly team who is helping us, put this out, and gratitude to everyone who's logged in, who's listening to this. And I wish, you achieve your goals, you achieve your dreams, and make a difference in your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.